But we begin tonight in Wasilla, Alaska, the hometown of the soon-to-be former governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin. Governor Palin's decision to say thanks but no thanks to serving out the rest of her term there obviously came as a huge surprise to political watchers across the country. But tonight we have reaction from Alaska. NBC's Andrea Mitchell is reporting from Wasilla. She'll join us from there in just a moment. Now, once Palin formally steps down later this month, Alaska's current Lieutenant Governor Sean Parnell will officially take over the state. He is expected to be sworn in on July 26th. Yesterday, Parnell took his best stab at the question many are asking now: why'd you do it? Soon-to-be Governor Parnell says he thinks one of the reasons Palin decided to step down was because of the weight of the mounting legal fees she now faces. Palin's legal bills are now estimated to be more than $500,000, the result of 16 ethics challenges filed against her, 15 of which have been dismissed, and one that's ongoing. By the way, all of those complaints, except for one, have been filed by Alaskans. Since her resignation announcement on Friday, soon-to-be Governor Palin has been using her Twitter account to update her followers on her whereabouts and her reason for deciding to basically quit her job. Yesterday, Mrs. Palin tweeted, quote, "Grateful Todd left fishing grounds to me this weekend, but now he's back slaying salmon and working the kids at the site, anxious to join him." She also used her Twitter account to rebut her critics, tweeting, quote, "Trying to keep up with getting truth to you like proof there's no FBI scandal." No number of tweets is going to satisfy those who still want to know why she did it. For those media outlets who would dare suggest that soon-to-be not Governor Palin decided to bow out of office ahead of some bombshell controversy that's about to erupt, the Palin camp has a simple message: see you in court. Palin's attorney, Tom Van Flein, has threatened to sue any media outlet that airs unchallenged claims about possible scandals in an attempt to answer that question of why. Van Flein told NBC's Andrea Mitchell earlier today that Palin's decision was a brave form of, quote, self-sacrifice for the state of Alaska. Andrea has been on the ground in Alaska working the story. She joins us from Wasilla, where sunset is at 11:35 p.m. local time.
Allison, Sarah Palin's friends, her advisors, her lawyer are speaking out for her as she remains in a fishing village in western Alaska with her husband Todd, commercial fishing village. They say she is picking fish, just as a lot of political analysts, Republican as well as Democrat, around the country are still picking over her announcement from Friday. Somewhat rambling, disjointed. She is apparently trying to fix this through her advisors. She sent out her best friend, the trustee of her legal defense fund, her lawyer, and others, all saying that she's made the right decision, that she's comfortable with her decision, that there are no investigations pending. They took the step of getting the FBI to make an unusual declaration that she's not under federal investigation, this in response to some blog claims that they have really discounted. She says that she's just, the friends say at least, that Palin is just fed up with her life, with the commute to Juneau, and they deny criticism even from some Republicans here in Alaska, like Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican senator, that she should have finished the job. Even some people here in Wasilla, Allison, say that they're disappointed. They like Palin, but they wanted her to finish the job, take up the fight with the legislature, and not back down. But she's off to greater things, presumably some big rewards, like a book deal already negotiated, lecture fees, and possibly even a talk show. Allison?
NBC's Andrea Mitchell, thanks for your reporting tonight. Let's turn now to someone who knows Sarah Palin well, Democratic Alaska State Senator Hollis French. He was the project director for the Alaska State Legislators' Troopergate investigation last year. Senator French, thanks for your time tonight.
Nice to be here, Allison.
First of all, just the basic question. I have to ask your reaction to Governor Palin's decision to step down. Were there any rumblings on the ground that this was in the pipeline, pardon the pun?
Absolutely not. You know, perhaps the conventional wisdom leading up to last Friday was that she would probably not run for re-election. Most people thought she might go like Governor Palin and decide to step down at the end of her term to prepare for a national race. But I don't think you could have found anyone in the state that would have even guessed that she would quit midterm.
Now, there appear to be two camps on this event. There's the Governor Palin is sacrificing her office for the state. She was a distraction. Now she can get out of the way, and Alaska can be on the move, Alaska politics. And then there's a Sarah Palin bailed on us camp. Where do you stand?
You know, I don't think you can find a single historical precedent that there's some kind of sacrifice involved in quitting your job halfway through it. She signed a contract with the people of the state of Alaska. She promised to serve a 4-year term. And unless something keeps you from doing that, some physical or mental disability, some kind of an accident, or some, you know, perhaps getting appointed United States ambassador to China. Unless something like that happens, I think you have to tough it out and finish the job you signed up for.
She did something like this once before on a smaller scale. She resigned in protest from the Alaska Oil and Gas Conservation Commission because she thought there was a breach of ethics there by another panel member, and she gained a lot of political momentum after that. Do you think she's doing this again, and could it work?
Well, you know, what's missing from this episode, as compared to the last one, is a strong reason. The last episode, she saw our Republican Party chairman, not my party chairman, but the party chairman of the Republican Party, Randy Rudrick, conducting party business from a state office as a chairman of that commission, and she was so so distraught over that ethical wrongdoing that she had to leave the commission because no one would seem to listen to her complaints. There's just no nexus here between this episode, quitting governor, because and that's where everyone's hanging up. There just doesn't seem to be a strong answer at the end of that because, and the idea that it's you know, some personal issue with the bloggers or the people that have filed complaints, or some opportunity to go make money on the speaking tour, or some preparation for higher office, you know, that's all very weak compared to her fundamental obligation, her constitutional obligation, a constitution that she likes to wave around and hold up to lecture others with, that gives her a 4-year term.
Now, Senator French, I hope you won't take offense to this as an Alaskan, but there's this old saying about finding a boyfriend in Alaska: the odds are good, but the goods are odd. You know, Alaskans have
hey now.
Alaskans just have their own way of doing things. Is she just doing something her own way and will be laughing at all her detractors in 5 years when she's rich and famous?
Well, you know, the time will always tell, but I don't think it's a good move. I don't think that a quitter can really expect to get ahead. You know, politics is a tough business. We all get criticized for the stances we take, but your skin is supposed to grow thicker over time, and it's almost as if the governor's skin has grown thinner. And that's unfortunate, because, you know, we'd worked together well in the past on oil and gas issues, on the gas pipeline issue. We've got a tough fight coming next year with the oil industry as we try to get a gas pipeline deal put together, and frankly, I was looking forward to perhaps working well with her and her commissioners to try to see that through. And now suddenly we've got a new governor. His alignment with the oil industry is not exactly the same as the governor's, and so it's an open question as to how well that's going to go. And these are tough times for our state, just like every other state. And so keeping a unified team in place, you know, I think was paramount. And so we've lost a big opportunity.
Well, let's talk about these tough times. In terms of her ability to govern, her effectiveness, what was she facing for the rest of her term, the 18 months or so?
Well, you know, she just issued a highly controversial veto of $28.6 million in federal stimulus money for energy relief to the coldest state in the nation. She was certainly going to be overridden on that. You know, the third floor of the governor's office knew that they were going to be overridden as soon as the legislature got back in office. So she could look forward to that rebuke from my colleagues, and perhaps on other fronts as well.
Was there a marked difference in Governor Palin's style of governing or commitment since the presidential election?
You know, it was a very contentious session. Many of the stories that we saw developing in Juneau didn't make the national press, but there was a highly divisive fight over who would replace one of my colleagues, Senator Kim Melton, who had taken a job in the Obama administration. That fight went on for 45 days, ended on the very last day of the session when Senator Ellis and I brokered a compromise peace candidate with her chief of staff and her legislative liaison. There was also her failed nominee as Attorney General, Wayne Anthony Ross. Very divisive figure whose nomination was defeated for the first time in the history of the state. We defeated a cabinet nominee while she was out of town giving a speech at the Right to Life convention there in the Midwest. So she'd had a rough session. I think she had tough times coming ahead, and perhaps she just decided that it was just going to be too much struggle. But many other great figures have gone through tough times, emerged at the other end better for it, and I just don't think Americans embrace someone who quits in midstream and who gives the battle over to someone else.
Democratic Alaska State Senator Hollis French, thanks for your time tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.